Look at this. It's been a year since I bought my alto saxophone. A whole year. 1st of June 2022. That's exciting. So yeah, 12 months of playing this instrument. I think it is fair to say that this is the most fun I've ever had with an instrument. I mean, I've played various other instruments in the past: piano, trumpet, clarinet, saxophone. I love it. I think it's great. Even so, there have been a few moments over the course of the past year when I've kind of wanted to just give up, and I've just thought, this isn't for me, let's just not play it anymore. Like with trumpet, I played it for almost a year just before I picked up saxophone, and it started to get quite difficult and I started to feel a little bit less motivated, and then I just ended up giving up anyway. So, I kind of can play trumpet, but not really because I can't. And it's a shame really, because I feel like if I'd pushed through, I'd probably be pretty good at it right now. But instead I moved on to saxophone, which is great. I'm glad I did that, but I am a little bit sad for trumpet. The good news is, though, I've pushed through those moments with the saxophone and I'm still playing 1 year on, and I think I'm better than I've ever been. So how have we got here? I mean, I definitely think of the saxophone as my instrument. It's the thing that I'm best at, and as I said, the thing I enjoy the most out of all the instruments that I've ever played. I really don't want to let it go, especially when it gets difficult and I feel unmotivated. So I've been thinking about the things that I can do to keep myself going and to stay motivated when I really don't feel like playing anymore. So take all of these with a pinch of salt, because they're not all going to apply to everybody. This is purely what works for me and what I found that's useful. It might not work for you, so just bear that in mind. So this is really silly because it's like an anti-gambling snippet, and it's when the fun stops, stop. But I think that applies to saxophone quite well, actually. Of course, you do need to use common sense, because let's say you have a rehearsal or a concert coming up and you just really need to woodshed and get something under your fingers, or you need to practice your tone or something like that. It can be really hard work and it's not necessarily fun, but something like that, you sort of have to do that, because otherwise you're going to turn up and it's going to sound terrible. So don't use it for that, but use it for everything else. I feel quite lucky because I'm playing saxophone as a hobby. It's not a career, at least not at the moment, and it probably won't be, to be honest. But I'm lucky that I can choose what I do. I can choose what I play, where I play, who I play with, which is something that people who play as a career can't necessarily do. But for me, I have that element of choice, so I'm allowed to pick what I do. If you're feeling really underwhelmed and unmotivated, maybe just take a look at what you're playing and see if you're actually enjoying it, because at the end of the day, as a hobby saxophonist, enjoyment is the key. You have to enjoy it if it's a hobby, and of course, no pain, no gain, that's what they say. But if you're really not having fun with a piece of music, just maybe don't play it. I find that if I'm really struggling, I sort of treat myself to a piece of music, and it's not necessarily I have to go and buy it. There's a lot of music online that you can access for free, but I treat myself to something that I maybe wouldn't ordinarily play, and it's a lot of fun to do. And the sort of the digging around and looking for something that you're excited about, that's sort of the key for me to getting motivated again, finding something that really gets me going and makes me want to play. Of course, if that doesn't work, you maybe need to take a break. Now again, take that with a pinch of salt, because I did that with trumpet. I took a break and I never went back. So you want to avoid putting the saxophone down and then never returning to it, which hopefully never happens to me. I think the key is just to allow yourself to have a day off. I think, there are many times when I don't really want to play, but I kind of feel like I have to, and then I get the saxophone out and it's a completely joyless experience, and then when I put it back, I'm really not excited at all to pick it up the next day. So I think for me, I need to stop forcing myself into this idea that practice every day is something that has to happen, because it's fine to take a break. And when I've taken a break, I find that I actually enjoy it more and I play better when I come back. And that might not be the case for everybody, but that's how it's worked for me. I definitely wouldn't recommend going on a break with no idea when you're going to come back from it, because that's when you're maybe going to give up entirely. But if a break is not what you need, maybe you need to play more. And by that I mean play with more people. I mean, until I started playing in an ensemble, I was just playing in my bedroom on my own pretty much every night, and it was basically just the sound of the saxophone and nothing else. You know, I later learned to sort of have backing tracks and something to play along with, but it can be a very joyless and solitary experience when you're just playing on your own all the time. Of course, saxophone is and can be a solo instrument, but that only really scratches the surface of what a saxophone is capable of. It was created to blend with other instruments, whether that's another saxophone or in an orchestra or whatever, so don't limit yourself to just playing by yourself. And then you combine it with the fact that you have all sorts of different instruments and different pieces of music to play, and then different musicians who you can meet and talk to and share your experience with. There's so much that you can learn from just playing in an ensemble and getting out of your comfort zone and doing something a bit different. It might be difficult at first because playing alongside other people is quite difficult, especially if you've not done it before. But if you do have an ensemble near you, just get involved. It's such an easy way to get re-motivated and to get out there and share your hobby with somebody. Okay, but if that doesn't work, maybe it's time to go back and reflect and think about why you're playing the saxophone. And I don't mean that as in go back and think, why have I done this? This was a mistake. Think about what it was that made you want to play saxophone in the first place. I bought my saxophone a year ago after I saw Nubia Garcia play at Band on the Wall in Manchester. It was part of the Manchester Jazz Festival. I didn't really know what to expect. I thought saxophone was cool, but I never had any interest in playing it. But once I saw her play in an ensemble and just seeing what it was capable of, I just knew that I needed to buy one and play it for myself. And I have to admit, recently, I have been feeling a bit unmotivated. I've not been as interested in picking up my saxophone. I've hit a bit of a wall, my tone's feeling really bleh. You know, my tuning feels bleh. I just don't really know what to do. But I ended up going to a concert with my dad and one of my friends from an ensemble I'm in, and it was Stan Sulzman and Nicky Isles, and it was amazing because I just got to see a master of saxophone just playing and hearing what the saxophone is capable of. And yeah, my tone isn't there yet, and yeah, I don't sound that good obviously, but that's something to work towards, and it was something inspiring that made me remember this is why I'm doing this is why I want to play. And I feel like if I'm really struggling and I'm not sure if I want to carry on playing saxophone or not, I have to go back to that time when I was inspired, and I need to remember what it was that made me want to play in the first place. And it worked, because I went and I saw it and I was inspired, and all I wanted to do when I got home was pick up the saxophone and play. Now, it was late at night, so I couldn't do that, but I had that fire inside me again, and guess what? I'm going to go practice. So that is it. That is my sort of tips, I guess, for being motivated again. Hopefully some of them work for you. If they don't, I am sorry, but do let me know what works for you in the comments below. And you know what? Just have a really great day, go get some practice in, and enjoy the saxophone, because that's what it's there for. Alright, bye.